Hey everybody, this is Carl back again for another movie spoiler review. And I just finished my review of the 2001 Lara Croft Tomb Raider starring Angelina Jolie, which should be up on my YouTube channel by now, youtube.com/talkativecarl. Now I'll be talking about the sequel, Cradle of Life. So we'll get right into it. So don't forget to like and subscribe, share this with your friends. Okay, so this time the sequel is directed by Jane D. Bont, and once again reprising her role, Angelina Jolie as Lara Croft, Chris Berry as Hillary, the butler, Noah Taylor as Bryce. But we get new people here. We got the villain, uh, uh, Dr. Jonathan Reese, played by Kieran Hines. We got a young Gerard Butler before he was Gerard Butler, playing Terry Sheridan. Got Jamon Hansu, where we seen him playing at times and other stuff. Very good character actor, but yeah, this is before we actually knew him like by name like that. Playing as Kosa, Laura's friend. So we open up on a wedding of all things in Greece, where this earthquake occurred, unlocking this hidden tomb along the coastline. So Laura and a group of like fishermen friends of hers travel in the middle of the ocean to dive in and find this little secret area that housed Alexander Great's uh, most of his treasures. One of them being this orb called the Cradle of Life. Well, it's not called the Cradle of Life; it's just called the orb. What did they call it, the Cradle of Life? In my mind, I always called the orb the Cradle of Life, but that would have been wrong. It's just called the orb. Anyway, and right as she's about to get it, her king gets assassinated by these uh Chinese gangsters led by Chen Lo, who steal the orb, but Laura managed to make her escape, taking one of the medallions there. And of course, Chen Lo shoots like a harpoon spear, which cuts Laura. But she also gets wounded in the arm, but none of which affected her. And you can clearly see when she's like actually trying to swim. And of course, when she enters, she has like this whole scuba gear, and it helps her breathe long periods of time, getting to where she needs to go. But she couldn't find any other stuff, even with her dead friend's scuba stuff that she could have just used. But she dived and decided to then show us the wound, even though it should have been still bleeding as soon as she entered the water, but bleeds when it wants to. So she caused it to bleed more, which attracted a shark that showed up earlier, which comes back around then, which I might add, I think it's been debunked by this point. But of course, there's been like a long rumor that you punch a shark in the nose, it'll be afraid of you or something like that. She punches the shark in the nose before it tries to eat her, and then grabs onto his fin to help her swim close enough to the surface so she can swim the rest of the way before she loses air. She activates a not comm link, but some kind of distress beacon on her wetsuit, which alerts a nearby assistance, which turns out to be like a sub, which people that just happens to know her I'm not sure if she just have it previously set up or something, but it just one of those things like James Bond or Indiana Jones that they've been at this for so long, went on so many adventures. Of course, they might know of quite a few people, in certain parts of the world. So she's kind of pissed that she got her friends killed and the orb taken, but through the camera she was wearing, she managed to get at least half of the orb on video, so that way Bryce could decipher most of it. But they needed second half. That's when MI6 showed up to her doorstep to explain to her about this guy Jonathan Reese, who is a bioweapons arms dealer that is on the search for Pandora's box, which is in association with the orb, and supposed to be help find where the Pandora's box will lie. And of course, we know the tale about Pandora's box, very old ancient Greek tale. I use old and ancient, which means the same thing in a double meaning. Sorry about that. A very ancient Greek tale about a young girl who opened this box when it wasn't supposed to open it. It was supposed to contain all the evils of the world. She got curious, opened it, and released all the plagues and other horrible things, weakness into the world that we know of. But the last bit of it in the box was hope, kind of thing. You know the tale. And of course, in their assertion, this whole terrible stuff was actually a plague. Considering that he's a bioweapons manufacturer, he will be will have a great interest in this tool in order to wield it as he sees fit upon the world. So the people that attacked Laura was association with Reese, called Chen Lo, who they think like we need to get inside in order to figure out he's the key link to Reese. But Laura suggested to find to gain the assistance of Terry Sheridan, who used to be part of, he's Scottish, well, I guess part of like the British intelligence or armed forces, I should say. But then he turned traitor, abandoned his men, and went to, I guess, like pillage ancient artifacts for the highest bidder kind of situation. He got captured, and now he's in some kind of like a Russian prison or something. So she goes there because she doesn't want to use MI6 resources because they are too stuffy. Doesn't know what the inside and outs of certain things like this. So she needs Terry because he's been there plenty of times and know like the, essentially the back roads or whatever in order to get inside without looking like a complete noob. So she meets up in his cell and offers, of course, thanks to MI6, it's like, okay, we're prepared to, if you do the, if you help us to stop Reese from getting Pandora's box, the MI6 is prepared to not only release you, but provide you with $5 million in thanks for your services and grant you like a new lease on life, essentially. So, but she also has, in case he tries to pull a stunt, she's allowed to kill him on the spot. Very Suicide Squad-esque. But so yeah, he agrees, and of course it's hinted that they had like a fling back in the day. And I'm wondering, okay, it's clearly like a very James Bond thing because he, James Bond, every iteration always has some kind of meet up with an old flame of his, and it's never like stick to one girl in a movie except for rare occasions. But uh, you got something like Lara Croft. There's no reason why she couldn't have that here. I can't help but think about, like, okay, it's not like the West guy from the previous film died or anything like that. You saved his life. So did y'all have a falling out? What came about that? Don't know. So I guess you're not meant to think too hard on that. But you know, they go off and use this kind of like MX6, uh, not a jet, but some kind of thing to get them in the borders of China, parachute out, allow the little mini jet thing to crash, so it won't be any kind of like a thing to pick up from Chinese intelligence, even though they should have picked them up on their radar immediately. I don't know. They land in like an area where Laura meets up with a friend of hers, where they change clothes, and then they take their motorcycles to drive off to Chen Lo's little hideaway, where he's housing a lot of artifacts, including terracotta warriors. And of course, Chen Lo doesn't like Terry because, obviously he's known for betraying people. But Terry explains, like, of course, I failed to mention that in order to get inside Lowe's territory or his organization, you gotta be taken in by prisoner. You can't just waltz on in. She talks with Chen Lo and try to propose a deal to him about like not protection from West, and not hopefully like not getting arrested or anything like that. But of course, he doesn't take up on the offer. They end up fighting, and then some weird, ROTC BS thing she does with like an old, I don't know if it's like an SMLE old rifle or something. But it doesn't have any bullets. Don't know why you thought it might have any bullets, but I guess he was hoping for all hope. Would have been cool. Those things are, this very old model. They, 19th century weapons, if taken good care of, they can still be very functional even by even today's standards. If you take good care of them and know how to use them, they are highly effective tools, but a bitch to maintain from what I'm understanding. And doesn't have like a rapid reload. It's not like 6-shooters or anything like that, but still. So Lo tells her the orb is in Shanghai. His men has the orb is in Shanghai, ready to make an exchange with Reese. And of course, he tries to shoot Laura in the back, but she kills him. Her and Terry make their escape and head off to Shanghai. That's where they intercepted the exchange, but Reese made off with the orb and shoot Lowe's men, but not before Laura managed to place a tracker on the helicopter, which heads to Hong Kong. They go there and they find there's a secret laboratory in one of the buildings. They follow behind a guy walking inside the secret area, take over the control panel while Laura tries to, catch on camera the other half of the orb while it is downloading other information for Reese. Of course, she shoots out all the equipment and everything like that. Well, Reese is coming in with his men, and he explains to her that he's planning on using this ancient weapon in order to destroy most of the world except for who he deems the worthy few. which is kind of idiotic. But thanks to the timely intervention of Terry to cause a distraction to make her escape, and uh, I'm pretty sure she snaps the orb. Make her way off of the. Yeah, she made her way off with the orb, and she and Terry make the way on the roof, and I keep forgetting this little plan of theirs. But I'm thinking like, why don't you just go out in the middle of the street, get a car, and speed off or something like that? But they had like an elaborate escape route. They head into the top of the tower where there's wingsuits there ready for them, and it's like, did y'all plant those earlier in advance, knowing that this is gonna be an escape route, or did you have somebody place them there for you? I like to think maybe they, before they went to that lab, they went all the way up to the top of the building to put those wingsuits there in preparation for a quick escape, because they have like a planned pickup spot out in the middle of the ocean. So they make their way up there. They take on the wingsuits and land on a drop-off point on a boat. So Laura handcuffs Terry to the bed, saying that, I'm still gonna honor my end of the deal. You serve your purpose. Well, why are you, the money? You got a new lease on life, because I know at some point, I know you're gonna, you're gonna plan on betraying me at some point. I'm just gonna get ahead of that, because you've been good to me so far. I'm gonna make sure, end it at a good spot before you succumb to your worser demons. But then he hits her with some kind of, psychology. It's like, you're just afraid to let anybody get close to you. You gotta let down your defenses and blah blah blah, which might be true. So she heads off on another boat where she MacGyvers somebody's TV, which I'm not sure why a family of four, these two parents, allow this strange woman come on their home boat, whatever, and utilize a TV. I forgot how old SpongeBob was, because I think there's still the first season was still happening, or in the early, second season, when SpongeBob became like super popular, so the kids are watching SpongeBob. So she used it to make contact with Bryce about deciphering the orb, which that medallion has images of somebody playing a musical notes, so you gotta play a certain rhythm back at the orb, which allows it to activate, so Laura can figure out where the Cradle of Life is, which turns out to be in Africa, which everybody knows that is the origin point, a supposed origin point of life itself, which was in Africa. And of course, it turns out that, when she signed off, Bryce and Hillary was being held captive by Reese and his men. And I'm thinking like, okay, it took me a minute to realize, okay, how did they even find these dudes, or where to even look, or even know that, she has help. But I remember that Laura left her little early Google Glass thing in the that she was keeping in contact with Bryce, help monitor the, record the orb and stuff like that. She left it behind, so I guess he used it to track the point of origin. But many people look this up. It's like 13 hours and some change between Hong Kong and uh, uh, England, and another few hours just to get to the location where Laura's manor should be in real world specs, and then to make their way to Africa. That is a long time, and to get all that done is virtually impossible. And it's movie logic, I guess, but still though, there's not enough time before Laura managed to do her thing, and all the Reese's little machinations is like going up in smoke. But Laura makes her way to Africa, meets up with her old friend Nakaza, and he takes her to the local tribesman who explains to her about the importance of keeping this Cradle life hidden in the Pandora's box, away from man, the hands of man. But she explains to them that there's people coming, they're not going to respect it, they're not going to fear it, they're going to do what they can to take it. And so she's want to do whatever she can to stop them. So, but they warn her about they warn her about these supposed like spirit demon things or whatever that roams the shadow guardians that roams the entrance around the cradle of life to protect it as little creatures. And sometimes in these Tomb Raider games there gotta be some level of mystical stuff that can be explained by science, and it's always fun when you introduce sometimes, not all the time. So that's when Reese and his men show up, kills most of the tribal warriors that the village leader offers Laura, and it's like, wow, that was completely pointless. It was literally knives to the gunfight kind of situation. They managed to take out some of those men, but still, it wasn't much of a challenge. So Koza and Laura have been taken hostage along with Bryce and Hillary. And Laura just sort of suspected something when Bryce was hesitant on giving her information, with, or at least finishing the deciphering of the orb. I don't know. They worked together for so long. You would think they have some kind of like insider, in speak to let each other know, like, okay, something's wrong, kind of thing. You would think that would help. It's not like this is their first rodeo, and not the first time that he probably would have gotten taken hostage. Anyway, Kosa and Laura lead Weiss to the forbidden area, hopefully to take most of them out, which does happen when all these creatures are being taken out one by one. And of course, it kind of reminds me of Tremors in a way, where it's like they react to movement. Well, the Grab Boys and Tremors react to sound on the ground, but you know what I mean. They just kind of remind me of Tremors. But Laura takes the Cradle of Life, runs towards like this, feels like a giant anthill thing, a man-sized anthill or something. She puts the orb inside to unlock the doors to the Cradle of Life, which also destroys the Shadow Guardians. The entrance opens up and Reese and Laura jump in, and now they end up in this kind of MC Escher type of cave where everything's what's down is up and what's up is down kind of situation. Terry shows up in the nick of time to save Laura's friends. He shows up to uh, help Laura distract Reese long enough for Laura to knock him out into this ecstatic black ichorish pool that allows the Pandora's box to float above it. And it's supposed to be like acidic, mimicking the tears of acid that Pandora wept when opening the box and what she unleashed upon the world, kind of situation. And once again, like in the previous film, this dude's a slubby dude. Sure, you probably can use a pistol, but it's like Laura should easily take this dude down. Why is he having so much trouble dealing with these slubby dudes that have no hand-to-hand combat experience? Or at least haven't shown us they probably could be capable of hand-to-hand combat. But then Terry shows his true colors, says like he's gonna take the Pandora's box, and it's like, dude, you do not understand. And she mentions like you can't take that out in the world because people going, whoever's gonna get a hold of that will be too tempted to unleash it upon the world or whoever they deem might be an enemy. And he's like, oh, don't be dramatic, Lara. And it's like, of course, she ends up shooting this dude, leaving him in a cave. I don't know why you guys didn't bother to bring him up so he can be at least properly buried. Leaves him there. And like I said, Reese fell into the black ink, so he turns, the acid kills him. Anyway, so Laura leaves out, and the movie ends with her and her friends leaving, and that's pretty much the end of the movie. Yeah, I mean, it's still fun, and many people for such a long time didn't consider this as, it still made money in the box office. It was literally 2 years after the first movie, so it made a great deal of money, but not many people viewed it as, I don't know, in my opinion, it's still up to par with the original one. Sometimes you don't expect, because it didn't make the same amount of money as the first one, but in my personal opinion, is right even in terms of quality of enjoyment. In terms of these films, is still very good. Of course, there's obviously plot holes in it, but I'm not expecting much in terms of, nothing too deep in terms of treasure hunting type of films. I think there's slightly more plot holes in this than it is in the first one, but I still thoroughly enjoyed it. Still recommend it, especially if you love treasure hunting type of films, globetrotting type of things. Highly recommend just checking this out. Very fun movie. The next one will be the 2018 Tomb Raider reboot, which I watched for the first time yesterday, because I've been meaning to watch for a hot while. Wanted, at least for International Women's Month, I figured, okay, well, I'm definitely going to be watching this now, because I've been too eager to watch it, because of course it's based off the rebooted game that started like a new franchise. Hopefully there'll be another one, hopefully, because the Tomb Raider rebooted games are very good. Never played the first one, but I played its sequels, and it was very good, because it's the first time I actually owned the Tomb Raider game before. And Tomb Raider is one of my favorite video game characters of all time, right next to Dante from Devil May Cry. Love those characters so much. But I'd never mentioned this in the previous review, but leave a comment below. Let me know, what is your favorite video game character of all time? And do you have a favorite Tomb Raider game? Because I think Shadow of the Tomb Raider is probably like the best one I played. It's very fun, but not much has changed. It's slightly upgrade stuff, like certain weapons you had in the first rebooted game that kind of carries over, that you don't have to keep redoing over and over again, but just enhance it further. But yeah, But the last two Tomb Raider games are very good. You know, I very much enjoy them. And probably got like one of the most gruesome deaths in video games that I ever seen. It's not fun to see because they hold on. It goes black and white and it holds on to the sight of Laura dying, and it's like, God, I do not want to see that. It's, oh God, it was tough to watch. Still gives me chills. Ugh. But anyway, I will see you guys in a few minutes for the review of 2018 Tomb Raider. Peace.